Well, we're going down the home stretch of the basketball season, and football is getting back underway. Spring practice finally starting for a bunch of teams in the Big 12 here in the coming days. Pete Mundo, Heartland College Sports Weekly, part of HeartlandCollegeSports.com. Thanks to all of you for joining us, however you're doing it. Podcast, radio show, YouTube, whatever it might be. We appreciate you being a part of the show. So the news cycle is going to pick up here over the next couple of weeks. NCAA tournament, Big 12 tournament, spring practice, the news coming out of that. So it's our last slower week. So I wanted to do something. I wanted to have some fun with this and something we can debate as well. You can find me on Twitter at Pete Mundo, at Heartland_CS. We can go back and forth. Email me anytime, Pete Mundo at HeartlandCollegeSports.com. But I wanted to put together the rankings as I see it for the Big 12 football jobs from worst to first. And I put in a bunch of factors here. I put in history of the team. I put in town. All these different elements that you think of when ranking the best jobs in a conference. I didn't just do it based on who's been the best over the past 5 or 10 years. What are the best jobs? Wipe the slate clean. And where would a coach want to be more than, say, any other job in the conference? So let's go worst to first. We can debate it. You can find me on social media. We can do it that way. So as I see it, the worst job, the 10th best, if you want to posture it that way, 10th best job in the Big 12 Conference, the Kansas Jayhawks. Now, Lawrence is a great college town. You have decent proximity to a place like Kansas City that has solid talent. I mean, it's not Dallas or Houston, but, Kansas City has some talent. But you can't overlook right now what this program has been over the past 10 years. You just can't. I mean, it has been horrendous, the worst Power 5 program in America. Now, if Les Miles can turn that around, they've got new football facilities coming into place, then Kansas can shoot up this list. The Jayhawks, there's no reason they can't be 8, 9, maybe 7 if all things start to break right. They can certainly be higher than they are on this list. But right now, you can't justify having the Kansas Jayhawks, higher than 10th. You just can't do it. The 9th best job in the Big 12, as I see it right now, the West Virginia Mountaineers. And I know West Virginia fans are going to be up in arms about this, but hear me out. First off, you still don't have those true ties to the Big 12 Conference. You can't go and recruit Texas like a lot of teams can in the conference because they're all in driving distance. You're not. You're at a geographical disadvantage in Morgantown. You're also at a geographical disadvantage because you got to do the most traveling for every one of your road games. That's difficult. I think Morgantown is great. I've been to Morgantown. I've gotten pretty darn drunk in Morgantown. I had a really good time doing it. But I got to be honest, it's just not connected to the Big 12 geographically right now. And you have no in-state talent. You're fighting for talent in Pittsburgh. The pipeline to Florida, is it still there? Sure, it was there under Dana Holgorsen, but not like it was, under the Rich Rod or Stewart regimes or anything like that. So, I just think that right now, when you look at that job in West Virginia, it's a good job. The facilities are solid. But I have a hard time putting it above the 9th spot right now. I think in many ways, Dana Holgorsen did overachieve during his time as the head coach for the West Virginia Mountaineers. So I have West Virginia at 9th. I have Texas Tech at 8th. Yes, they're in Texas, but they are as geographically removed from the equation as you can be. They're 8 hours from Houston. They're 6 hours from Dallas. I mean, it's basically a different state, right? Dallas is closer to Stillwater, is it not, than Lubbock? It's out there kind of in no man's land. And I don't say that in a derogatory way. I used to live in Woodward, Oklahoma, towards the Panhandle in Oklahoma, which people call no man's land. And it's a fantastic part of the country. I love it there. It's got fantastic people. I'm not saying and using that phrase in a bad way in any way at all. But Lubbock is removed from the equation. When you talk about geographically where it is, it hasn't had a lot of success. The program has not had a ton of success there in also about 10 years since the Mike Leach era. And it just needs a reset, So Kirby Hocutt, I think, is a great boss to have, but I can't put him right now any higher than 8th. At 7th for the best programs in the Big 12, Kansas State, the Wildcats. Manhattan, really good college town. The alumni love, support that program. You have the 30-year run of Bill Snyder, which, let's be honest, rebuilt that program from nothing to something. Chris Kleiman is starting with a good base. Yes, he has to clean some things up. We all understand that. There have been a lot of defections from the program in recent years. Can't get around that. But he's got a good place to start. And, he's not starting at the top of the pack. I understand that. We all get that. But he shouldn't be making excuses either, because that program and that community supports that team. And, yes, it's further from a place like Kansas City than Lawrence is. I understand that. I live in Kansas City right now. But you know what? Kansas State should be able to recruit the kids out of Kansas City just as easily as Mizzou, just as easily as Lawrence. You're another, 90 minutes down the road? It should not be a problem. At the 6th best program in the Big 12, I'm going to say the Iowa State Cyclones. You start getting into a better college environment. Not much, but, listen, Ames is, and I haven't been there yet. It is on my list. I will be in Ames this fall. There's no doubt in my mind. I don't know which game yet, but I will be in Ames this fall. I promise you that. And I can't wait to do it, because that fan base, I want to drink all the Busch Light I can get my hands on. I want to do it all because that fan base loves this team. They were selling out Jack Trice under Paul Rhodes, winning 3 games a year. So you can't deny that fan base loves this team through thick and thin. And, yes, it's not in a great geographical location to recruit some of the true Big 12 hot spots in Oklahoma and Texas, but close enough to Kansas City. And what Matt Campbell has done is he's used his ties kind of to more of Big Ten country to go pick and prod over there. And it's worked out pretty well. Facilities are good. So I put Iowa State right now in the 6th spot. At 5, the Baylor Bears. You're talking about a team that is in the thick of a talent-rich area. 3 hours to Dallas, 3-4 to Houston. You got Waco, you got Temple, you got Austin to pick from. You're right in the middle of it all. And there's a lot of money. New stadium. McLean Stadium's a great spot. I've watched games from there. And how Matt Rule has turned this thing around from a disastrous situation ending the Art Briles regime is a credit not just to Matt Rule, but to that program, to the administration, to the money donors, to all those people that have put their best foot forward and have tried and successfully turned this thing around from 1 win to 7 wins to maybe, 8, 9 this year. It is very impressive. And that is a team we've seen what the potential is during the Art Briles regime. And if Matt Rule wants to hang around and doesn't get enticed by another NFL job in the next couple of years, they can be right back in that same spot here, I would say, in probably 2020 if Charlie Brewer does hang around for a senior year, which he should. I can't imagine he leaves. I guess that would be 4 now for the top Big 12 jobs in order. TCU. TCU has the support. TCU is right in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. I mean, you are minutes away from some of the best talent in the country. You are now in a Power 5 conference. There's a reason that the Big 12 didn't want TCU in a Power 5 conference for years after the old Southwest Conference blew up. And it was for this very reason, because under the right coach, man, that's a program that's going to recruit top 25 classes. We've seen that. I think TCU fans are great, but I got to be honest, sometimes I look on TV at Amon G. Carter Stadium, and I'm a little bit underwhelmed. I wish the fan support was better, but you can't underestimate stadium, facilities, money that's been dumped in, donors on top of the location, which when you talk about proximity of recruits, no team in the Big 12 has the proximity that TCU has. So that might move them up this list a little bit further than if they were in a place like Waco or Lubbock. Number 3 on the list, Oklahoma State. I don't think you can get around the fact that Stillwater, if you haven't been there, is an awesome college town. The donors, notably one, T. Boone Pickens, you might have heard of him, has reset the financial arm of this program. They've got great facilities. They've got a great town. Okay, fine. They're second fiddle in their own state. That's okay. All the other teams are in Texas as well, to one of the top 2 teams, which we'll get to here in a second. But, Mike Gundy, I've said it for a long time now. He should be recruiting better than he is. He won 10 games in 3 straight seasons. I'm not going to take that away from him. But I still would like to see him recruiting top 25 classes, because I believe with that program where it is, with the money that's been put in, with its location, it should be recruiting a little bit better. But you know what? If he bounces back and wins 10 games this year, I'm not going to question it. I'm just not going to do it. Number 2 for the top, as we rank the Big 12 jobs in order, number 2, I know a lot of you have been wondering, what is my 1-2? Number 2, Oklahoma. Number 1, Texas. Texas, I get it. They haven't had the on-field success in recent years. Haven't done it. But when you think about Austin, Austin is one of the most popular cities in America right now. I think of 3 cities for the most popular cities in America right now that are growing rapidly. I think of Austin, Texas. I think of Nashville, Tennessee. And I think of Denver, Colorado. 3 of the hottest places growing rapidly. And when you have Austin, Texas, which is even though it's growing fast, it's a college town. There's no pros teams to compete with. The donor base is enormous. Basically, everything is equal with OU. Outside of OU's had more success on the field. We get that. There's no denying that, right? OU's had more success. But you have Austin, Texas, which is one of the sexiest cities in America right now for anybody. Doesn't matter, not just Texas, not just the Southwest, for America. It's one of the hottest cities in the country. And that, to me, gives Texas the slight edge over Oklahoma for best jobs in the country. They both are close to talent. They both can recruit whoever they want. What is the difference at this point? When the donor base is the same, the money is the same coming in, I'm going to give the edge to the Texas Longhorns. And it's close. It's not taking anything away from Norman. I love Norman as well. But it does not have the cachet right now, and no cities do, in my opinion, of Austin, Texas. So there you have it. Ranking the Big 12 jobs, worst to first. Let's give you the order, top to bottom. Texas, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, TCU, Baylor, Iowa State, Kansas State, Texas Tech, West Virginia, and Kansas. Debate it. Find me on Twitter, at Pete Mundo, at Heartland_CS. Talk some hoops. Matthew Postins joins us next, right here on Heartland College Sports Weekly, part of HeartlandCollegeSports.com.